law and everything is still very kind of messy. I mean, and then, so I think there's something about social consciousness as well. It's something that we need to push forward together and make this kind of thing available and kind of like we can take it in. Like you said something in the book, I would like to quote. You say collective meditation should be guided by the principle of freedom. I totally agree with it, 100%. But I think the question is, do we have freedom in this country at all? I mean, do we have freedom of expression to say things? And I mean, am I bad to question that? So I think there's something about this, like the context of science when it emerges. I would say it creates enlightenment, Western enlightenment. It's an era, 16th century, 17th century, 18th century. It developed into a certain kind of perspective and environment in society. That people can question about things. People are free. They have freedom to question anything, even God, right? So I think that's very important. We tend to kind of like look down that kind of thing a lot. Like, oh, Western stuff, it's just bullshit. It's just like materialistic, it's like not spiritual. But I think there's something about that. That's the inquiry. That's freedom to question about things. Even God, even like the rulers. Actually, people who are afraid of questioning about external things are actually people who are afraid to question about internal things too. It's something kind of related to that. So I'm not saying that it's just about internally, the inner, inside. It is also about questioning about what's going on in our society in general. So I think there's something about that word, enlightenment, that Western culture can bring to us, and we can learn from them. And also enlightenment that we really love to talk about so much, which you can find in Buddhism, the kind of inner enlightenment, individual enlightenment. But in the book that you talk about, is something about that Western enlightenment that's so ingrained in Western culture that you're free. You have like freedom, totally, to just do anything, say anything, explore anything, and everything that you present in like your presentation. There's also the sense, the spirit. So I think I kind of like feel like we need that kind of thing more in our society to understand what you talk about. That kind of like secular spirituality that we need so bad in this world. And I think if we miss that part, you will never find any spiritual teachers from Thailand or people who are interested in meditation in Thailand can dialogue in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's still kind of stuck in that kind of like narrow down perspective. So I think there's something that we need to learn.
Specific. And yet at the same time, I can't help but think, as you say, that not for conformity, but for that challenge. It's what I did for 35 years as a professor. You want the student to challenge you. You beg them to challenge you. The more brilliant and forceful, the better. So that they can stand on their own individual feet and make their judgments. And that's becoming more and more a common inheritance. Sometimes I think, why is the Dalai Lama doing this? I know it's around knowledge and ignorance and suffering and so forth, but I think there's another reason, because he sees in India, now in Chinese, Tibetan, which is officially part of China, this is a wave. This is coming. What happened in the 18th century in the Enlightenment in Paris is now in Lhasa. It's now in Bangkok. And how are you going to take up the challenge to your spiritual traditions? Are we going to just put a wall around the spiritual traditions? Are we going to hide and call them bad? Those Western things bad? Or are we going to stand as he has for decades, not just like once, but for decades, again and again and again at the crossing point? Sometimes I watch him on stage, I think there's a lot of stupidity being spoken up there on stage, not by him necessarily, but by some of the academics. I think, oh God, this is boring. It's not, they're missing the point. But he keeps coming back. And for me, he's living the question of his community's future. See, I believe that if you have a few paradigmatic cases of, say, a leader in business, a young leader intellectually who's going to be a star in the future, a leading monk, and they...
Okay. On behalf of the organizing team and of the organizer, we would like to thank all of our leading discussants who devote your time and your thought to share with us, and thank you very much for the love.
Next. So, since we are now thanking people, so I would like also to acknowledge great effort of the organizing team who made this happen. So I think that many of them are hanging out around here. If you are around, can you raise your hand that we can see who you are? The organizing team, please. And also, we will need to mention at least two people who work on the million little things, on the details on this event. So please give another round of applause to Kun Voganut, Children, Mr. Hans Van Willet. And of course to our translators who's sitting in the back, who have been translated for us a whole afternoon. You. So I think it's time to finish. So the last but not least, I would like to invite the vulnerables from Myanmar to chant for us, to raise us with good luck. So